It is now my great pleasure and honor to introduce Rhoda Bernstein, who will represent the Barnett Institute family and whom I have had the great pleasure of meeting in person. And I would also like to acknowledge Howard Bernstein. It's a pleasure to have you here, Howard. And I'm not sure if Jeffrey Werner is here, but he will be later. And so we are wonderfully honored to have members of the Barnett family with us today. Rhoda, please.
First, I want to thank you all for being here today to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Barnett Institute. And I want to let you know how deeply sorry I am that my sister Laurie and my brother Elliot were not able to be here today. You should also know that I am the least significantly disabled, scientifically thoughtful member of the family. So I want you all to handle everything and all things science. And if you'll indulge me, I'm just going to speak about Louis Barnett, the man, my father. Dad grew up in Malden, Massachusetts, and we were kids, and many of you will appreciate this. He had us believing that he had to trek so many miles uphill, both ways, in the snow, every day to get to school. Of course, we did learn finally on a trip to Boston to see his little home in Malden that it really wasn't so. It's about a block away. Like many successful individuals of his time, our father was driven by a profound love of science and a relentless entrepreneurial spirit. He always said that as a poor kid from Boston, it was Northeastern's work-study program that afforded him the freedom to pursue his passion for science. While Dad had taken every science class he could find in Boston, it wasn't until he met our mother on a blind date arranged by cousins that she finally convinced him to take an English class so that he could receive his diploma. Indeed, Dad believed that meeting Madlyn Brockman on a blind date was the best thing that ever happened to him. Together, they shared 66 years of marriage and were truly partners in all that they did. Dad began his professional career at GE, working with some of the original plastic polymers, including rayon, nylon, and PVC. After several years in Boston and New York, he had this idea to start a new business. He desperately wanted to get out of Boston and out of the cold, so they left the Northeast and relocated to Fort Worth, Texas, which was Madlyn's hometown. In 1949, Dad opened the doors of Loma Plastics, L-O-M-A, L-O for Louis, M-A for Madlyn. Loma was an injection molding company and was founded with just one machine, a dream, and a fierce determination to create a secure future for his family. Our father was always a chemical engineer at heart and possessed a great imagination. But while Dad never liked the business side of running a company, Loma grew to become one of Rubbermaid's main competitors in the late 50s and 60s. Loma being a major player in the burgeoning plastics and household products industry. In addition to holding over 100 patents, Dad was ultimately recognized by his induction into the prestigious Plastics Hall of Fame. He also received a lesser-known award, the Boon to American Women Award. I imagine that this title is not awarded in today's world, but back then it was truly something. In 1967, Dad sold Loma Plastics to Standard Oil of Ohio, removing him from the business world and giving him the time to pursue his many other interests. For instance, Dad was a wine connoisseur long before it was in vogue and was inducted into the Chevalier de Testament in France in 1967. Dad was an amazing gourmet chef and wrote 2 cookbooks. Dad used to walk 3 to 4 miles a day, including around our pool, while reading either a newspaper or listening to language tapes. He would become semi-fluent in each language prior to his travels around the world. and amazingly, he never fell into the pool. Dad loved to hunt and fish and was an avid baseball fan. He lovingly remembered attending Boston, and I thought it was the Red Sox. I was corrected. It was the Boston Braves games with his dad. But he later became a Rangers fan. Unfortunately, he did not live long enough to watch the Rangers finally win the World Series last year. But let us show on the record that our family celebrated enough for him. Dad also loved dogs, not just as pets, but he was a working dog judge, never handing out a perfect 200, as he insisted that a perfect dog had never been created. Mom and Dad were very involved in a myriad of communal and civic organizations. They taught us that by their actions, that to whom much is given, much should be returned. By far, however, the gift that gave him the most pleasure was the endowment of this institute. It was a testament to his vision and commitment to making a lasting impact on the future. Dad cherished his bond with Barry Carger, and together with Barry's insightful direction and so many other brilliant individuals, they built this institute into the giant it is today. A center of excellence in developing and applying technology, and stick with me on this, for biopharmaceutical characterization, proteomics, and systems biology. Okay? All right. Thank you. Dad always teasingly complained that not one of his 3 kids or any of his 6 grandkids ever became a scientist. But he knew that this legacy would live forever in the work of the brilliant scientists and graduates of the Barnett Institute. Thanks to all of you for being part of this amazing journey.
Rhoda, thank you so much for that heartfelt and really interesting exploration of your heritage. We so appreciate your time and you being here and telling us. Thank you.